Hey guys, welcome back to Torch Tales. In one of my episodes, I talked about acetylene, one of the most popular fuel gases in the welding industry. Today, we're going to talk about its partner, the other half of the flame, oxygen. Oxygen is the key to unlocking the power of oxy-fuel welding and cutting. It's one of the most widely used gases in our industry till this day. If you don't believe me, go to every shop. You're going to see a bottle of oxygen. So let's dive into the story behind the gas that brings fire to life, literally. Oxygen may feel like it's always been here, but it wasn't formally discovered until the late 1700s or so. In Swedish chemist Carl Wilhelm produced oxygen in his lab, but he didn't publish his results right away. So of course somebody else comes in, they get the credit, and that's usually how it happens throughout life and how it has happened throughout life, right? Then in 1774, English scientist Joseph Priestley also generated oxygen by heating mercury oxide. He published it first. He often gets the credit for being the one that invented oxygen, at the pure level to use for oxycutting. But finally, a French chemist, Antoine Lavoisier, gave it the name oxygen, meaning acid former, and explained its true role in combustion. Now, that understanding is what makes oxy-fuel welding and cutting possible today. Oxygen makes about 21% of the air we breathe, with a whole bunch of other gases mixed in it, nitrogen, argon, and you can see it here on this graph. But for us to use in the welding industry, we need it purified and concentrated. Today, oxygen is separated from air using fractional distillations. What does that mean? That means that cooling air down until it becomes liquid, then separating oxygen from nitrogen and other gases, then we get that purified oxygen needed for the welding industry. From there, oxygen is compressed into a high pressure cylinders, those nice green cylinders, bottle tanks that you see at most shops or driving someone's truck. And those cylinders are painted green for the most part in the US with a CGA connection 540. CGA, remember that? Compressed Gas Association. I did an episode back in the day, well, a few months back. Anyway, but on its own, oxygen doesn't really burn. It's not a fuel, but it makes fuel burns hotter and cleaner and faster. Pretty much it grabs any fire and turns it into hell. It feels like hell. And that's why when it's paired with acetylene, propane, propylene, or any natural gas, it just makes that fire go to the next level. Now with acetylene, oxygen creates one of the hotter flames possible, about 56 to 6,000 degrees or so Fahrenheit. Now that's hot enough to weld, cut, and braze steels. There's other gases out there that now claim that they are as hot or hotter than acetylene, but that's another show. That's for somebody else to argue, and we can have this debate. And definitely, I would love to talk about that one gas. If you want to bring it up, you can show me what it is and how it works and all that, and we can definitely have an episode on that. But for now, we're sticking to oxygen and acetylene, right? That's what we're doing. Now, with propane or natural gas, oxygen produces a strong preheat flame, great for cutting, heating, but not quite as intense for welding. No matter the fuel, oxygen's role is the same. It's to grab that hot fire and create it into an inferno, super hot, just by introducing oxygen. That's why when you see those forest fires and you see a gust of wind that hits it, the firemen just have a hell of a time putting it out because now you are adding oxygen to it. Like when you grab your barbecue grill and you just start using a fan to add air. Well, there's 21% oxygen, and that's what happens. Now you know what I mean. So no matter the fuel, oxygen's role is the same. It's to take that flame and turn it into, like I said, a tool for the industry, or just hell. Now, when it comes to cutting, oxygen does the heavy lifting. First, the preheat flame gets the steel red hot. Then a jet of pure oxygen, it's blasted into the metal. That oxygen reacts in with the hot steel, forming iron oxide. And here's the key. Iron oxide melts at a lower temperature than steel. So the reaction burns a path right through the metal at the same time the oxygen stream blows the molten oxide out of the curve. Just out of the way. Just another fancy word in the welding industry. Leaving just a nice clean cut. Of course, if you just know how to use the torch the right way, right? That's why when we say oxygen doesn't just support combustion, it does the cutting itself. With all this power comes great responsibility. I love that quote from Spider-Man, and I'll keep using it probably till I die, so deal with it. Oxygen isn't just flammable, guys, but it makes almost everything else burn faster and cleaner. That's why regulator, hoses, and torches must always be kept clean, oil-free, just to make sure that you don't cause a violent reaction from the high friction, the flow, creating a spark, and then use your imagination. You know what might happen. Cylinders should always be stored upright away from sparks or any kind of heat. And only oxygen-rated equipment should ever be used. If I gotta say that out loud and tell you that, then you shouldn't be in the industry. Let's face it. Now, handled correctly, oxygen is safe. Mishandle it, it can turn a simple torch setup into a very dangerous situation. Like, you don't want to be there. So now from the early experiments in the 1700s to Lavoisier naming it, to the oxygen cylinder standing tall in our shops today, oxygen has really been about unlocking potential. It's the quiet force behind the flame, the part of the torch that transforms a spark into a powerful tool, powerful enough to cut steel. Thank you for watching Torch Tales, where the real story is always behind the hood. And remember, every spark has a story. So I'll see you on the next one with something else, about something else, or with somebody else talking about something else. And remember, if they keep saying yes, who am I to say no? Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys like the content. If you guys don't like it, do the whole like thing anyway. It helps. All right, guys, take care. See you on the next one.